Hello my friends, so I haven't had one of these rants in quite some time, so I thought I would talk about Wicca Strawman. If you don't know what I mean by Wicca Strawman, what I mean is the strawman argument is basically where you present the other person's position in such a way that it becomes ridiculous or looks ridiculous or can easily be torn down or dismantled by you. What I mean by this is, and I kind of have to give a little bit of a background to this, and I have to, well, not really apologize, but explain myself to another fellow YouTuber, Ember Honey Raven. I watch her videos every so often, and I really like her videos, and there was a comment that I had left on another person's video, and she read it, and she was like, because she apparently, and I haven't seen this video yet, so again, it's third-hand information. So she had compared, or somehow equated Wicca with Catholicism, and I didn't like that. I felt that it was kind of I felt that it was a ridiculous analogy. But I don't know exactly what context it was in. So it was one of those situations where I reacted emotionally to it without understanding the whole context behind it, if you can understand that. So anyhow, I just wanted to give a little background on this. And also, the frustration that I had put into the comment was not entirely on that particular statement. It was more on another video that I had seen earlier, and then another video I had seen before that. And that was where Wicca, from another person's point of view, was thought of as, I'm trying to find the best word, thought of not realistically because of the Reed and the threefold law. And I got the idea in my head that some people, not everyone, but sometimes, people will build up Wicca to be this ridiculous religion or ridiculous concept with this threefold rule and the Reed and even the 13 principles of witchcraft, and then make it seem so ridiculous and stupid. But the way that they built it up is the entire reason why they were able to tear it down. Now, many of you know I do a lot of debunk videos. I study Wicca. Wicca is what I know. I've been studying it for quite some time, and I feel very comfortable with it. I do not feel that comfortable talking about Voodoo or Asaratru or Satanism or any other particular religions, because I just don't have that much familiarity with them. And I feel that there's a certain level of this happening on the internet where people do have a nice beginning understanding of Wicca, but they don't know a lot of it. And that's not their fault. That's not anything negative. It's just that we just have to understand our level of understanding. And sometimes I hear these things from people like, oh yeah, well, when I was younger, I used to practice Wicca, or I started out with Wicca. And it's like, you know, it's not just, there's a lot to it. It's not just, you study it for a weekend and, oh, well, that's it. You know, okay, move on to the next thing. First of all, if you've studied Wicca and then found that there was just nothing more to it, then I don't know exactly what you were studying. And the other thing is that Wicca is just too small of a word to contain everything that supports it. Now, what I mean by this is that, especially in the 80s and the 90s, there was just an author explosion And all of these authors claimed that what they were writing was Wicca, and they used the term Wicca, and it spread and it spread and it spread. And there was just a flood in the market of Wicca books. And everybody started calling themselves Wiccan. There's an evolution of Wicca. The other thing is that there are a lot of people who are solitary and eclectic in their approach to Wicca. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then there are a lot of people who are initiated and who have gone through an initiation. These are two different streams of Wicca. There was another person who commented on the comment that I had made. They had said that people who are initiated are not unique snowflakes. And I actually disagree with that. I think we are all unique snowflakes. None of us are the same. However, it does not mean that those people who have gone through initiation are any better or any lesser than those people who are solitary eclectics. Those are two completely different experiences, and I talk from experience because I started in a group. Then I became solitary for a very long time, and then I was initiated into a group. So I have gone through several different stages of my practice. And I don't think one was lesser or one was greater than the other. It's just different experiences. And all throughout my life studying Wicca, there has been enough to study. I have never felt that I needed to move on to something more or something or the next step. Now, another thing is that Wicca does have this flood on the market, and everybody talks about Wicca and Wicca this, Wicca that, blah, blah, blah. And there's a growing group of individuals who are looking towards the past. They're looking, they're trying to, I want to say resurrect, but it's not necessarily resurrecting, but they're looking towards traditional witchcraft practices. And what I mean by that is they are looking at witchcraft in a different light and exploring it and researching it and creating their own thing. And I think this is fantastic. And I have no problems with them. I think that it's great. I think that it's fantastic. It does not mean that they are any less or greater than anyone who practices Wicca. It is essentially the same thing as somebody who is initiated versus somebody who is who's not initiated. It's just a different way of approaching sort of the same thing. It's a different experience. And there shouldn't be a value placed upon those two things, or those four things, or anything as such. It is just a different way of approaching it. And I often hear people ask, like, what should they do if they're interested in Wicca, or if they're interested in this or interested in that? What should they do? What should they read? And I always have told people that look to yourself. Find out what it is that you believe, or what you think, or how you perceive things, or what your basic philosophy is. Find what your core is. And then once you've found your core, look for something that complements that or feels most comfortable with it, rather than trying to change yourself to fit into that label. Why not see which label actually feels most comfortable for you? That's probably the best way to describe it. And understand that just because you don't completely understand a tradition does not mean that it is any less or any greater than your own. It's just a different experience. And before you pass judgment on really any practice, understand it enough to be able to pass judgment on it. If you have a rudimentary understanding of Druidism, I don't really think that you're in any kind of a position to actually judge Druidism until you've actually understood it and practiced it and kind of got a good understanding of all the various groups of people who practice Druids and how they have come to their practice and what they've learned about it, etc., etc., etc. Don't just take the cursory understanding of anyone's practice and then from that little bit of understanding pass judgment on everyone who practices that. I often hear people say, you know, most traditional witches I have met or initiated witches are assholes and you're so cool. Thank you, that's nice of you, but I don't necessarily think that I am cool. I guess maybe I am cool in some ways, but I'm just another person who's been studying for a while, and everyone that I've met who considers themselves to be awakened are people that I admire. They're somebody that I actually want to get to know, and there's something inside of them that I respect. And I think that there are a lot of people who are, you know, quote unquote traditional initiated Wiccans or witches who are that way. It's just they might get a little frustrated because there's all this interpretation of what Wicca is rather than understanding what Wicca actually is, if you understand what I mean. If you understand what I mean by that. So, this was just a quick rant just to kind of get these thoughts off my mind. And I am interested in what you think about this. And please share your thoughts with me, either in the comments below or make a video for yourself and put it up. So, this has been my Logan. Thank you and blessed be. The Gardnerian in the Alexandrian tradition who identified. So there's, or maybe not identified, but